I was approached on the street by Robert Muke. He is a pastor in a local village church, and he'd worked many, many years in order to obtain Kenyan government registration to have an orphanage. So he approached me on the street and asked if I'd be interested in hearing what he had to say. Although I was working on another project with the street kids, I thought I was a little bit interested in what he did have to say. So he took me down to the village slums and introduced me to some families living in very, very poor conditions. Some of the children were living with grandparents that were very sick, and the children, sad as it sounds, were a big burden on the family because the older people simply couldn't afford to feed themselves, let alone have a child that needed to be educated and fed. They live on slums. Slums are part of the villages that don't have running water, they don't have electricity. They get very, very muddy and wet and washed out, and the children are generally pretty filthy. Mosquitoes are a massive problem. So malaria is something that's very common. HIV is rampant. Children born on the slums, although it's not always transferred to the children, but a lot of the children on the slums it is transferred to due to lack of medical attention. So after Robert had introduced me to quite a lot of the families, I, without commitment initially, started to fund the orphanage, and we slowly got some children in. This was something I took on by myself and very quickly realised that it wasn't something I could leave behind when you see these children that now are being able to be educated, they are being fed, they have hope, they're happy. I embarked on something that I could not take back, and I was living in London at the time, and I thought when I get back to Australia I need to register a charity there and extend it, make it known to my network that I could actually do something. I could do something bigger, I thought. So I got back to Australia in January 2012 and put that plan into progress, and by April 2012 I registered a charity called Hope Child Africa, and now it's June 2012 and I've since been preparing a charity ball, and the proceeds of the charity ball will go towards the orphanage and making this orphanage, which now accommodates 12 children and helps 35 families on the slums. What I'm hoping is that it will be able to build the orphanage its very own home that is eventually sustainable and can expand its accommodation and education facility to at least 100 children. Personally, the orphanage has cost me about $500 a month, Australian dollars a month, and when you think about that, that has paid rent, electricity, food, education for about 40 children per month, every month. If you were to split that up, you know, you're looking at $30 a month or something like that per child, but that's including a lot of overheads there, and they've got full-time care mother, they're on a nutritional balanced diet. The kids are just so happy, and now what I really need is to extend it to the greater public, just so together we can all get involved and we can put an end to poverty, hopefully. But obviously that's not going to happen just through me, and it always takes one person at least to step out and make a difference.